Let's discuss this idea with the hopes of accepting it as truth, unchanging truth. Life really does have no limits. And the only limits that life has are the limits that you are personally experiencing. One person has abundance while the other experiences lack. One person has health and well-being while the other experiences sickness or dis-ease of some form. One has vibrant relationships, meaningful and deep, while the other has a difficult time maintaining intimate relationships, perhaps even friendships. What's the difference? Is it life? Well, hello and welcome back to Changezdefined. My name is George Stewart. We are endeavoring, committed to building a much better mental blueprint with the expectation that that inner reality will affect every facet of our outward life, our finances, relationships, physical well-being and health, the gamut. The only limits that life has are the limits that you and I have learned, become familiar with, and now accepted as true. So if one wanted to break free of what was before familiar, some limited state of existing, one would have to first become aware that there is life beyond the life that you and I are currently experiencing it, in whatever limited form that may be. And then after that, and I think this is perhaps the most important idea that you and I will have the opportunity to come to grips with, is this: everything has its price, and the price of success in any undertaking is responsibility. Now, no one can take responsibility for you but you. The outside world is not responsible for the choices that you and I make. You and I are responsible for the choices that we make. And if you want to make different choices than you've made in the past, feel different ways of experience than you have in the past, it'll start with exposure to new information. Why are books, mentors so necessary, so potentially life altering? Because they expose you to a different train of thought that can lead to a different pattern of thinking, feeling, and making decisions. There is an idea that I learned that's called or referred to as H3. And in this H3 idea, it is head, your heart, and your hands. So this new information, this exposure that we speak of, is so necessary. The challenge that can come into play is if this information doesn't make its way beyond just your conscious awareness and into your heart, it'll have no chance of expressing itself in the things that you do or your hands. So your head is information, as necessary as it is. Your heart is when you become emotionally involved with an idea. And oftentimes that will come through repeated suggestion. Repeated suggestion. So you learn an idea. You start to see how that idea can impact your life, what it would be like for you to live in that reality over the one that you've lived for so many years. And as this information makes its way into your heart, and you know that it made its way into your heart because it will eventually show up in the things that you do and your behavior. So if you and I amass tremendous amounts of information and it doesn't make its way into your decision making or your behavior, then it never made its way into your heart. It's information, as valuable as that is, makes its way into your heart. One of the mediums of that is repetition. When you become emotionally involved with an idea, then it begins to affect how you arrive at decision making, and it affects your behavior. Now, once your behavior starts to come into play, now your effects or your results starts to change. This is seed. This is where it's planted. This is where it makes its harvest into the outside world. Thinking, feeling, arriving at decisions, and taking action. If it doesn't show up, this information in what you do, then that's because it hasn't yet made its way into your heart. And it very well could be that your heart is still in yesterday's reality. Join us again for another segment. We'll keep building a better mental blueprint. If any of this impacts you, resonates with you, say something in the comments. I'd love to hear from you.